But that day will come. It's going to be a special podcast. When that one comes, I promise you guys, it'll be a special one. You'll know when it comes, though. You'll know for sure. It can't be today, though. It can't be today.
Yeah, episode 22. Today is today, ladies and gentlemen. I already told you. You already know what it is. This is just a big hoax. This wasn't even a real thing, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't even really care about this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. This was just way to make way for my man, Jacob Lucero. He's got his explosive, hot new hip-hop career coming at you right now, ladies and gentlemen. Get familiar with what's going on. My man Jacob gonna come in here and start you off right. 16 bars right now. Go ahead, get him, Jacob.
Oh my god. You guys, I'm getting set up. I can't do it on stream. I can't be dropping nothing unless it's good.
Oh man, you got it. Come on, man. Stop playing. Go on and give it to me. I know you've been working hard, man. How long you been doing music, Jacob?
Probably like a year now. Probably around a year. I'm coming up on a year, but you know, I don't believe in like releasing anything if I don't think it's good, because it takes a while to actually get good at something, and I don't want to still be getting my feet underneath me if I'm releasing anything. Like, I just don't believe in that. Like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right. I'm gonna make sure it's good.
Okay. All right. What do you think? Should we let him slide, ladies and gentlemen, or do we make this man drop these bars right now? Because, you know, when I hit him earlier, I was like, hey, man, you ready to do this podcast? He's like, you know, I'm ready, but I've been making music all day. I'm like, man, you making music all day? It's like that? I was like, okay, so then he must be ready. He must be ready to go up on top of this beat right now, ladies and gentlemen. You know what it is, episode 22, Music and Mental Health. We got Jacob riding this beat right now. Go ahead, get it to him, give it.
I can't, man. I can't.
Man, I didn't hype it so much. I don't know if I can hype him up anymore. Like, that was like the biggest hype train of all time. And he's just not happy.
Chat wants me to too. I got the pressure on me, bro. I got pressure in my palms like a mean. Pressure in my palms like Arthur. I don't know.
Over my head. I always thought it was anime. I'm so sorry for that. I feel bad now.
You know, I thought that too. When I first saw Caroline on Twitter, because that's like how he blew up, was on Twitter. And it was because of Caroline, the music video. And he was like, yo, this shit's hella good. And then he blew up from there. But I remember I was like, yeah, anime. Ooh, this guy's good. Now I'm like, nah, it's not anime. It's anime.
Interesting. Tony says you can't make him go a cappella on his first time, though. This isn't his first time, Tony Tom. My man done been to this dance. My man done been to this stadium several times now. What is this, your 5th episode?
Yeah, I think this is maybe even 6. Because 22, we have to remember there was one that was lost, and we had 22 and a half, and well, not 22, 20 and a half. So maybe the 5th one, actually.
Okay. You started on 18, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we had about, but I was actually on one before I was co-host. So this might be like number 6.
There you go. All right, no free passes. On to the 16 bars then. You heard him. The beat's fading out by now, though. It's over.
The beat's out by now. It's got to be at the beginning.
He got saved. He got saved, ladies and gentlemen. He got saved. So, what have you been listening to, Jacob?
Honestly, I've been listening to a lot of Roddy Ricch. Lately. Don't ask me why, super random. But hold on, ladies and gentlemen. We learn from our mistakes, and I've partially learned from one mistake. I need to press the record button right now.
I'm recording it already.
Oh, you are? Oh, okay, then we're good. No, I've been listening to a lot of Roddy Ricch lately. Oh, dude, I was like, damn, I forgot it again. Speaking 20 and a half. Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Roddy Ricch lately. A lot of Jack Harlow's albums dropping soon. I've been trying to get back into the Kid Cudi vibe. Kid Cudi's he's dropping tomorrow, and Sam Spratt snapped on his album cover. Absolutely killed it. I went back and listened to Blinding Lights. I actually made an album of the year. My albums of the year list. I have a list on my phone, and I was thinking about all the good music this year. 2020 has been a lot. This year has been a lot better for music than 2019 was, I would say, significantly. and yeah, makes me excited with music in the future. What have you been listening to?
What have I been listening to? I'm listening to a lot of jazz.
Ooh,
Alice Coltrane today.
Alice Coltrane.
Yes, sir. I've been bumping some Alice Coltrane. Also, I was listening to my man Grover Washington Jr.
Grover
Grover
Washington.
Jr. and Alice Coltrane. Pardon me. That's
Okay.
my main two listens today. Old
What do
school
you
jazz, 70s, 60s.
so what's your favorite part about listening to jazz?
My favorite part about listening to jazz is similar to what Andre Three Stacks recently said with Rick Rubin on a podcast, Turning Tables. Andre went on to say that I need to hear music with no lyrics right now because when I hear lyrics, my mind attaches to the lyric. My mind associates with the lyric. And maybe I don't want to feel a certain emotion or certain energy. It's kind of like how we said, you can't really listen to Bob Marley in the wee hours of the night. It's kind of like a morning vibe, something like that. Like I can't turn on Takashi 69 because when I hear Takashi 69, my mind immediately goes to that energy. My mind immediately goes to that vibe. So I try to surround myself lately and the majority of my 2020 with a calm set, a calm mind temple. And jazz for me is really good at doing that. Jazz for me really gives the avenue to just relax and to not have any prejudgment or any perspective before I listen to it. Does that make any sense to you?
No, it does. It really does make sense. Um, See, I don't listen to jazz as much as you do, but I listen to that when I'm studying or I'm trying to focus, when I'm really trying to like not necessarily read something, but if I'm trying to focus up on a certain subject or what I'm doing, I'll put that on in the background because I find when I listen to songs with words, I just don't comprehend anything. I'm too focused on it. Like I'll try to take a test or something and I'll have a playlist on in the background and I'm sitting there like mouthing words, but I'm like subconsciously doing it. And I'm like, no, like I can't do this. I need to put my jazz or honestly, I just listen to Spotify playlist for it, but I don't have my own. But yeah, no, I definitely that makes a lot of sense. It really does.
And furthermore, I got in the shower and I was listening to Grover Washington Jr. and it was like what 1970. Let me double check. Let me get my reference here. The name of the album specifically is Mr. Magic, 1974. And I'm bumping Mr. Magic, and it has a lot of energy to it. 74 jazz kind of started moving into more upbeat, kind of funky tones. Traditional jazz was a thing of the past, and during this decade, during this time of American music, people wanted to hear more energy, more funk, more rhythm and blues incorporated within their jazz, which is why Miles Davis created Bitches Brew. Bitches Brew is completely unlike anything Miles Davis has ever done up until that point. It's very out there, very drawn out, very psychedelic, very vibey. And Grover Washington Jr. was on that tip for me today. And even based on what I was saying earlier, it almost had too much energy for me. It almost had too much funk and feeling. So I paused my Grover Washington Jr. and I opened up that Alice Coltrane. And that Alice Coltrane, whew, Alice Coltrane hit the spot, man. For those of you who don't know, Alice Coltrane is actually the aunt of Flying Lotus. and Alice Coltrane was the wife of John Coltrane,
That's
and
impressive.
her music is absolutely incredible. That was sounding right on to my palette today. And the name of that album specifically is Alison Coltrane's Journey in Satchidananda, and that is 1971. Incredible, incredible music, incredible album, incredible vibes. I love jazz for that reason because I could just escape. I could just go wherever my mind wants me to go. Whereas if I hear hip hop or if I hear R&B or soul, it's a very specific thought. It's a very specific energy. Love music even, R&B, a lot of Marvin Gaye I've been listening to not this week but throughout 2020. And when I hear Marvin Gaye, my mind goes to a certain place. Isn't it amazing how music truly is the soundtrack of our lives? Shout out Kid Cudi.
Shout out Kid Cudi.
I'm very much excited for Man on the Moon 3, Kid Cudi. And shout outs to Sam Spratt with that incredible album artwork. Sam Spratt was on a roll this year. He did No Pressure. He did the 070 Shakes joint, and then he also did the new Kid Cudi joint. All of the artwork is definitely applause worthy. Sam Spratt, absolutely incredible, huh? Big shout out, homie.
So I got a question for chat. What have you guys been listening to past week, past 2 weeks, whatever may pop up in your mind? What have you guys been listening to? We want to know as well. I gotta say, Sam Spratt, going back to Sam Spratt though, I think that Sam Spratt has made some of the best album covers of all time. And I know he makes more than album covers, so that's me limiting him and putting him in a box in a sense. But man, like I remember looking because I saw when Kid Cudi I had seen when he tweeted it, and it was like 10 seconds ago. Like I literally had just seen it. And I looked at it and I zoomed in on it, and I just thought to myself, I was like, damn, this looks like something Sam would have made. Like, this is some really crazy artwork. And then he said he made it. And I was looking through because he has a website of all of his work he's done. And I was just thinking, holy shit, man, he's so talented. It's insane. And it leads me to believe, on a personal note, that album artwork can some way somehow mentally make you enjoy someone's music a lot more. Because like I don't know how to explain it. I just have this weird relationship where if I'm looking at an artwork, like the artwork for the actual album or song or whatever it may be, and it looks good, then it's more likely to me that the song will sound better in my mind. Does that ever happen to you?
Yes, 100%. Artwork is such a huge, important hook to luring in the listener. The artwork is the initial bait that we take when we walk in a prehistoric vinyl shop and we hold up this piece of music. We hold up this piece of life, this piece of history, this concept that this artist wanted to convey from the start to the finish. I love album artwork because it re-emphasizes the importance of albums. It re-emphasizes the importance of hearing a song from the beginning of the sequence, track one, all the way to the end. That artwork spins and has a revolution of feeling and emotion and ideas that the artist is serving you. So it's very important for the artwork to grab me, even now when I'm not in my likeness of having the ability to walk into a vinyl shop and to grab, aka crate dig through the plethora of choices, whether that be new or retro or classic that I just have to have. Even now, when I can't do that at the vinyl shop, I go through iTunes. I'm an Apple Music guy. I'm not on the Spotify train. It is what it is. Crickets. Anyone out there do Apple Music, or are you guys all Spotify? This podcast isn't even available on Apple, is it? But it is on Spotify. Anyways,
On
so
Spotify.
even when I scroll through Apple Music, I find the artwork is what grabs me. Even today, like when I'm looking for some classic 70s shit, if it's a dope ass psychedelic cover, I'm more likely to grab it because of that vibe. Or let's say there's a new artist that I haven't heard of. If the artwork is striking enough, I will grab it. There's a couple artists that I have discovered, modern artists, just because of the artwork. One of which is, I hope I'm not pronouncing his name wrong, but I believe it is Shafiq Hussan or Shafiq Hussein. And this gentleman put out a project in 2019 called The Loop. And on the cover of that artwork is this gentleman in a traditional meditation pose. And me being so into meditation, I'm like, oh, let me click on this. I wonder what this is like. Clicked on it, and it absolutely blew me away. It was an incredible album that stuck with me for the majority of 2019. I actually went to his show in LA. I met him, took a picture with him. Really dope cat. What about you, chat? Is there any specific album artwork that specifically has grabbed you in a way that you had to click on it and listen to it? Let us know while we check in with what you have been listening to lately. And the Music and Mental Health Street Team says that someone named Caden, shout out Caden, has been listening to A Tribe Called Quest debut and Revenge of the Dreamers 3 and The Cure's Kiss Me, Kiss
Whoa,
Me,
whoa.
Kiss Me.
Whoa, whoa,
Tony
whoa, whoa.
Tone talking about that Kid Cudi. Waffle Stomper bumping a lot of Kanye recently. Yeezus, to be specific, says Waffle Stomper. Caden's also been listening to the Beatles and King Crimson. Love King Crimson. Love the Beatles. Jay Weirdo, shout out Janice. Voyager in the house has been listening to a lot of Bryce Vine lately. And of course, Tony Tone is on this Kid Cudi tip with 21 Pilots. And shout out John Lindahl for his Christmas album. Tony Tone bumping that, getting in the spirit. No Doubt is my life. No Doubt indeed. Shout outs to No Doubt, Tony Tone, and Janice, and Say Almighty, all loving No Doubt. Also, Bryce Vine. I got to check out Bryce Vine. Caden has also been listening to some Gorillaz as well as Red Devil. Has anyone heard the new Gorillaz album? I haven't heard it yet. I need to hear it. It's on my list. I love Gorillaz so much. I love Gorillaz. Gorillaz, absolutely incredible band, incredible music, incredible.
I have not heard it, but I want to go back to what Caden said when he said Revenge of the Dreamers 3. Just so happened to be wearing my Dreamville shirt right now at the same time. So really appreciate how that came full circle a little bit. No, but I have not heard the new Gorillaz album. Honestly, I haven't listened to that much Gorillaz in a long time. And all my friends are like totally telling me to. They're annoying me about it almost, but I know I need to because Gorillaz, I don't even know how to explain their music to people. If I could, I wouldn't even know how to explain it, but that's how you know that they're a great band.
I feel like if I had to explain Gorillaz, I would say Gorillaz is almost world music infused with hip hop. I think that's the easiest way to say it. At times they incorporate funk, psychedelic energies, electronic, but I think from a broad perspective, they're doing everything under the sun within the world, and they'll throw some hip hop in there at the same.
I've heard, yeah. I mean, I heard another album this year that I said the same thing about, and I'm excited for that album still. But music like that just makes me. I'm like, damn, that's how you know it's special. That's how you know it's good.
Which album are you mentioning right now?
It's an album that hasn't dropped yet. It might be someone might be yours by chance.
Oh shit. Oh cool, man. I was like, I was like, what is she talking about? No,
No.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. No, but music like that makes me question, like, I don't even think it has a genre. Also, Rhetoric's music makes me feel that way too. That came on my playlist. His music came on my playlist. I was driving 2 days ago, I believe. And what is it? I know this may be corny. What song is that? It's not Shelter. It's not Three Leaf Clover. Whatever song that is, it came on and I was like, oh my God, he snapped on this. I went back and listened to his project Behind Closed Doors. I was thinking, I was like, this is so good, man.
Shout out Waffle Stomper in the chat who told me earlier on another stream I was doing that me and Rhetoric have to get together to create some music. I'm totally
That'd
down
be
for that.
crazy.
Shout out Chase. Caden says an album cover that I adore is Tyler the Creator's album Flower Boy.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful cover, beautiful artwork. Tyler the Creator gets it as far as the aesthetic goes. That's why this artwork thing is so important. That's why I try and tell the Voyager fleet how important artwork is, because this is the window to the consumer that pulls them into the shop, which allows them to digest what you got. And Flower Boy really sells that album quite well. All of Tyler's album covers, when you think about it, really sell the album pretty spot on. What about the rest of you in the chat? What's your favorite album cover of all time that really connects with you, really connects to what that theme is of the album, really conveys what the artist is trying to say, just through the artwork, which you could definitely double over on the music there. Go ahead, Jacob.
I gotta say that you're 100% correct about Tyler Creator and his aesthetic, because when I listen to Flower Boy, I can feel myself in that album picture, the world of flowers around me. Like, even when I'm listening to like Who Dat Boy, which is might be one of the hardest songs in the album, but when you hear like right before it drops, you hear the boop 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 boop, like I feel like I'm in that world. And I even saw him in concert. I even saw him on that tour. He came to Sacramento, and the stage, it felt like you were literally engulfed into that world that whoever made the album cover did painted for us as a listener to be in. And he does such a, even with Igor, I didn't see him in concert for Igor, but I've seen those videos. He comes out with the wig on and the whole suit and everything, and he kills it. He kills it. It's such an important aspect.
Big shout outs to Tyler the Creator and everything that he does. His whole vibe is always spot on. His whole vibe always knock out the park. And Igor, even see that it went from the artwork to a character, and the character traveled through the artwork, and you bought into the album through the character, which is the artwork, the branding. It's just absolutely incredible. The aesthetic is absolutely incredible. Big shout outs to Tyler the Creator, man. Real innovator, real artist right there. Big shout outs. Let's see. Back to the chat here. Shout out Dreamville. New album, fantastic indeed. Can't wait for the Kid Cudi album. I definitely agree with that. I think the Kid Cudi album is going to be absolutely insane. I'm a huge Kid Cudi fan. Huge influence of mine. Can't wait to check out that new Kid Cudi. Sublime's 40 Ounces to Freedom was an album cover that made me buy it in my psychedelic days. And did you know anything about Sublime before you bought that record, Tony Tone? Let me know. Rachel says we need the album. And I assume that she's talking about the DLH album. The Damian.
We do need that album. We really do.
And you think the album is genreless? Is that what you were saying earlier, Jacob?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I remember listening to it, trying to compare it to anything I've heard, just trying to like hear the sounds and like, where have I heard these? Maybe no, I honestly haven't. The variety is crazy on it.
Thanks, man. No, that's really cool. I really appreciate that. When we were making that album, we weren't really trying to do anything specific. I think I was just making music. And about 30 songs later, I had about 8 or 9 that I thought well together, or maybe not meshed so well together, but told a story.
Mhm.
And the concept is real through that sequencing of that story. So
100%.
big shout outs to you, man. I appreciate you for listening to that.
Of
And
course.
I appreciate your expression and your commentary on it as well.
Of course. Of course.
Shout outs to ex lovers also, who Rachel is looking for a DLH collaboration with. Waffle Stomper says Under Pressure's original cover was very eye grabbing. I would agree. Sam Spratt, back to Sam Spratt, huh?
Mm-hmm.
How does that album cover make you feel being a big Logic fan?
To be honest, when I think of Under Pressure, I think of the deluxe version. The Under Pressure original version is really, it's amazing. Don't get me wrong, but my mind goes to the deluxe version because when I have the CD, I bought the CD. I see the deluxe version, and I see the back of it and the CD and everything. I just think of the deluxe album cover, like with the wall and everything. That's what I
Yeah,
think of.
I know exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I do go to the original. Like when Waffle Stomper said Under Pressure's original cover, I immediately went to that basement image of Bob and Castro and Sick sitting in there in the basement, like plotting on the dream. And to me, that album cover is greater than the deluxe album cover. And in fact, I think I have the original on vinyl. I think it's not the, or do I just have tits? Do I have Under Pressure on vinyl? I think I have Under Pressure on vinyl. And I think the Under Pressure vinyl that I have is the original Under Pressure vinyl, which for me, once again, not to say that either one is better, but when we talk about that theme, when we talk about that message that the homie Bob was putting throughout, it was, I'm gonna wake up today. I don't know how, but I'm gonna find a way. And that to me isn't that mural. To me, that's in the basement. I'm gonna wake up today. I don't know how, and I'm gonna find a way. I used to wonder what it feel like, pad and pen sitting at the computer, like damn. So to me, that's iconic. Not to say that the other one isn't. I'm just saying that. I mean, you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. To me, I would say it's the other way around for me. I look at that wall, and I think, I mean, he paints that wall like a picture, like the different colors dripping down the wall make me, because like Buried Alive, I feel like incorporates with that. Literally feel like I've been buried alive, like I can feel. I don't know how to explain it, but like the way that the paint drips off and the way that you have the puddle, like the rainy puddle, almost like I'm gone type vibes. I remember listening to that in the rain, and when you see that next to it, I don't know. I feel more of that mural when I think of songs. But intro, I would see the basement for, of course. That does make a lot more sense. But songs like I'm Gone and Buried Alive and Gang Related, I see more of a mural. I see more of that mural. And even Metropolis too.
Don't you think that mural has a positive sensation to it? Don't you think that mural has
It has everything.
vibrancy to it?
Yeah, but I think it has everything. I think that's what the colors transcend. I think that's what they project when I look at it. That's what I've always thought of. In the window behind, you can see the city. It's almost, I don't know. There's so much to take in with that.
All right, we're just playing a game here. This is just a game. But do you honestly feel that that mural captures the aggression, the darkness, the mood and energy of Gang Related
In a
compared
sense,
compared to the original? Which one captures
yeah,
Gang Related more?
I would say the mural for sure. It's spray painted over. You can see like it's not perfect. Like like it just feels more like it captures it more than him being in the basement. The basement, I would say, almost feels more like bounce, intro, all right,
Okay.
driving Miss Daisy.
So let me ask you one more thing.
But like,
if there was a music video for gang related in your head, would that video be filmed at day or at night?
nighttime.
Exactly. And that's all I'll say about that. We'll move on from there. We can agree to disagree. And Caden brings up a big one here. Jacob used to be an Igor hater.
Yeah, I used to not like Igor. One of those albums, just like I've talked about, I had to force myself to listen to. And honestly, I'll be honest with you, I still don't think Igor is that great of an album. I don't think it's that great of an album. Yeah, a very unpopular opinion, but I don't think it's what everyone has it up to be. I think there's Flower Boy, and then there's Igor way down here. Way down here.
Gentlemen, ring the alarm. Ring the alarm. We have some bullshit on the podcast. Ring the alarm. We have some bullshit on the podcast. Ring, 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 ring. I do not agree with you at all from the second Igor starts. Oh my goodness. Right around me, I'm feeling this shit. Right around me, we gonna feel this. Yo, that shit had me mobbing in LA, homie. You have no idea. I was flipping through Hollywood, bumping Igor, blasting it. Yo, that's blasphemy.
I will say the production on it is amazing, though. I can appreciate the production on it. Tyler's production is always top tier. But Flower Boy, man, I don't even think it is even in the same tier. I don't even think it's in the same ballpark. I don't even think it's in the same sport.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's too much, man. You're saying wait.
I know, but I really do feel that way. I think Tyler's I just think he Flower Boy was the one. I just think that was the one. And I'm not going to say he can't do better than that, because obviously he can. But I just don't think Igor compares to Flower Boy. Igor's still good. It's not bad by any means, but it does not touch Flower Boy.
Caden says, Jacob, when you're sad at night, listen to Igor. Sure.
He said his production style is unique enough where nothing is certain while you're listening. The lyrics are also rough as well. You can tell the raw emotion that is driven out from Tyler and agony he feels. I could say the same on Flower Boy about Garden Shed when he's specifically talking about him and his sexuality, but he does it in a very clever way, and he does it throughout the album. So I think he does a great job on both albums, but I think it's better on Flower Boy.
Wow. Caden also went on to say, I think album covers are so important. They set the tone for the entire project, something that is lost, in my opinion, in a lot of current days projects. Interesting. Do you feel like projects these days, Jacob, don't have a sense of wholeness to them? Do you feel like projects of today are sporadic and let's just throw these songs together? Or do you think projects of today feel complete, like a genuine album? Do you agree with what Caden's saying there? I think it's a hit or miss. I think it's a this and that. I think sometimes the artist is able to capture that theme and maintain it throughout. And I think sometimes you'll have an artist who has 100 songs that they've been doing in the studio, and they just take the best 25 and they put all 25 of them on there.
I would say that it depends on the artist. For instance, watch 21 Savage just dropped an album, and that has the same sound, same feel throughout the whole thing, and that's a trap album. But then this year, the same thing happened with Brent Faiyaz. He dropped Fuck the World, and that one is complete. Sounds like the same quality, the same production. I want to say that about that album. I was going to say Circles doesn't really sound the same throughout, but I don't know if that's fair to say, because I don't know if it was completed. So it's not, I can't really speak on that, but it really just does depend. It really just does depend on the artists and their albums. I don't think, I will say Lil Uzi, he dropped probably the most popular album this year, and I wasn't a fan of it, but it sounds sounds complete. Sounds exactly what an album should sound like if that was your vision. And I will say that I didn't enjoy it, but it does sound that way. So I don't know. I don't think there's. I think last year was a lot worse in the sense of incompleteness on albums and randomness, where people were just like, "Oh, here's my 100 songs, top 20 or 20 is way too much for an album, but top 20 here it is." And I don't know. That's just my opinion. What do you think?
Pardon me while I put on a bit of deodorant in here. It's a little hot in this mamma jamma. To further that discussion, let me ask you this, just to coattail a little back here. Do you think the Lil Uzi Vert album cover of Eternal to Take matches the record?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would. I would say that, and I would say it matches it because the randomness to me, and I'm not saying randomness in a good way, to be honest.
No doubt. No doubt. I see what you're saying. I think there were some great albums this year that were able to capture the theme throughout. I think Uzi included in that realm. Let me ask you this, Jacob. You said earlier 2020 has been an amazing year for music. Can you tell Music and Mental Health your top three albums of 2020?
My top three. You want me to rank them?
You don't have to rank them. Let's just put them in your hand. Top three.
Okay, hold on. I have a list of my favorite albums this year. I'm gonna read them off. It's not three. It's about six. It's about six or seven.
Sure. Why
Is that
not?
cool?
Why not?
All right. First one is After Hours by The Weeknd. Second one is Savage Mode 2 by 21 Savage. Third one is Unlocked by Denzel Curry and Kenny Beats. Kenny Beats, an amazing producer.
Oh, I didn't know
Detroit,
you said that album.
yeah, him and Kenny did the whole thing together. It was a straight collab.
I didn't know that.
Um, Detroit 2, Big Sean, Limbo, Amine, or as some would say, Anime. Circles by Mac Miller. No Pressure, Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon, Pop Smoke, and then Fuck the World by Brent Faiyaz.
Brett Faiyaz.
Brent Faiyaz.
Were you telling me about Brent Faiyaz earlier?
I was telling you about him earlier. He's so talented. He's super talented, and honestly, he's still on his quote unquote come up. He's not huge yet, but man, he's just so talented. He's just so talented.
I need to check that. Can you drop a link for that for me, please?
Yeah, in chat right now.
No, you don't have to do it in the chat. Just send it.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll send it to you.
Let's see my favorite albums of 2020. And for my favorite albums of 2020, I'm going to slightly open up the calendar here and extend it to slightly into 2019. And I say that because I am including some of the Grammy nominations of the year, which of course weren't all released in 2020. But just so they get their credit. For me, Michael Kiwanuka's album Kiwanuka is absolutely incredible. Are you familiar with this artist, Michael Kiwanuka?
No, I've never even heard of them.
Michael Kiwanuka, a singer-songwriter, guitarist out of the UK. His brother is dope as fuck. Highly recommend both of his projects, which, well, I believe he might have four projects altogether, but he's released two within the last 4 years, one of which is called Love and Hate, and the most recent of which was nominated for, I believe, Best Rock Album, and it's Kiwanuka by Michael Kiwanuka. Highly recommended, highly recommended. Incredible album all the way through. There is an album artwork that really matches the tone. I also really enjoyed Jay-Z minus, wait, let me rephrase that. I also really enjoyed Jay Electronica's plus Jay-Z's A Written Testimony. That album is absolutely incredible for me for this year. I also really loved the new Thundercat album. And those are the top three right now that stick off in my mind, instinctively speaking. Those are the top three new albums that stick in my mind. Of course, we were going to say my favorite albums of 2020. I might not even be including these most recent releases. I'd probably dig back into the 70s and the 60s and what has impacted me the most this year. But as a whole, definitely check out that Michael Kiwanuka project. Definitely check out that Thundercat if you haven't heard it. And a written testimony, Jay Electronica and Jay Z is insane. I think underrated. I do agree with Waffle Stomper. The new Nas album was great also. I enjoyed that very much. No doubt.
How long would you listen to an album before you consider it one of your favorite albums? How long do you need to listen to it before you finally make that decision to go, okay, you know what? This is one of my favorite albums.
Well, I don't determine my favorites by how long I spend with them. I determine
Mm-hmm.
my favorites by how much of an impact they made on me.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no set duration required for my palate to say, oh, this is one of my favorites. It's like if I bit into a Shake Shack burger for the first time. I know you don't want to hear this, but I'm going to say it. For that first time, I knew without a doubt that was the best burger I had ever had. And I didn't need to have it 20 times in my mouth for me to know that, oh, this is really good. I didn't need to have it for 30 hours over the course of going to Shake Shack for my adult life. I've now racked up 30 hours worth of experience time in this Shake Shack, and I am able to finally digest and compute this is the greatest burger in the entire world. Of course, you would say In and Out, but that's a bunch of bullshit. But we're not going to go there, right? We're not going to go there because we're not ready for that. But let's leave it to the chat. Music and Mental Health Street Team, I'm looking at you. What's better, Shake Shack or In and Out? Let's end this once and for all. And Jacob, let me go ahead and return that question to you. What
See,
amount of time do you feel like you need before you can say, "Oh, this is my favorite album"? Is there a set amount of time that you need to listen to it? For me,
for
it's
me,
if I just hear it one time through and it really connects with me, like it connects with me. Go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you.
no, see, for me, if we're gonna make those food comparisons, it was like the first time I tried a salt and vinegar Lay's chip. I remember exactly where I was, and I remember I was like, "This is horrible." I was a little kid, and my mom was like, "Take another bite, and you'll like it." And I took like three more chips, and my taste buds adjusted to it, and I was like, "Okay, this is not bad at all." And it's the same for me with music because I remember the first time I listened to what album was it? I believe it was Graduation. It was a Kanye album. It wasn't Yeezus. It was a Kanye album. I didn't like that album, and I came back to it like a year later, and I listened, and I was just thinking, "Holy shit! Why did I not like this? This is amazing." And it slowly became one of my favorites because of the memories associated with it. And not every album is like that for me. Most of the time I listen to an album, I know and I think to myself, okay, this is an album I'm going to love and enjoy. And I felt that way this year about like Detroit 2. But it took me probably a month to consider that one of my quote unquote favorite albums because in that month time, I do agree with you with the memories that you make and how it impacts you. um I have a lot of memories with that album, and that album somehow, some way actually helped me through a weird time in my life because of Big Sean's genuine lyrics that he had compared to his last album. I decided like I just felt like more connected with him on this, but it takes time for me to really consider something my favorite album because I have to connect memories, and sometimes that takes time. But I'm listening to that music during that time frame, then it's considered one of my favorite albums.
I hear you on that. I'll play ball with you on that. I see what you're saying. I do see that within more bites of that salt and vinegar chip, your palate can adjust to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go on to say, once again, I got to reference Rick Rubin and his amazing podcast, Broken Record. He had a conversation with Flying Lotus. Once again, it pops up in our conversation today. And they both said, isn't it funny how there will be something that you hear and you don't understand it initially. It's like, what the fuck was that? Yeezus, for example, waffle stomper underscore bin. Yeezus, was it the first time that you heard Yeezus that you were like, oh my God, this is incredible? Or did it take time for you to understand that Kanye was ahead of his time with Yeezus? Did that process from the beginning? Or was the difference and the uniqueness a part of that journey which led to your favoritism within it? Because I can think of a Kanye song on Late Registration, which I initially hated. I was like, this song is terrible. This song sucks. Addiction. And later it went on to become one of my favorite Kanye songs of all time. And then Rick Rubin also went to say, which is very interesting, look at the stuff that you thought was your favorite the first time you heard it on whatever album. And now, does that replay value hold the same? Or is it no longer your favorite? And the song that you hated the most, or the song that you didn't understand the most, did that become your favorite? I think it's a very interesting concept within the human mind. We object what we don't understand initially. And then once we get a taste of it, we love it. It's almost like a racist white supremacist who finally gets his taste of chocolate. All of a sudden, he went black and he can't go back. Very real, possible thing. And it has happened. Maybe not with a white supremacist, but it's an idea. That's a concept that in human behavior. Sometimes we don't like what we don't understand. And when we begin to understand it, or when we take a closer look, we realize, oh, wait a second, I do like this. Maybe there was something in my subconscious that didn't want to like it, but I've knocked that down mentally. And now I can fully understand that I love this chocolate thunder. If it is chocolate thunder for that individual. What do you think about that idea, Jacob?
I think that that idea plays into a lot of mental health, because I think it might limit us a lot. Thinking that you don't understand something, because I used to be like that. I thought I had understood too much, kind of like I do with music sometimes when I listen, and I'm like, nah, this ain't good. Then I come back years later and I'm like, wait a second, no, I was wrong. Like, this is good. And I feel like it's almost the same for some stuff mentally. Sometimes I see something, a situation in my life, and I'm thinking, I'm right. There's no way I'm wrong. There's no way that I could be wrong in this. Time goes by. I'm sitting there. Time goes by. I'm reflecting. And I'm thinking, yeah, I fucked up. So I think that concept is very, very, very universal in the sense that it connects with both music and mental, not just mental health, but mental mindset.
Before we get on to that mental mindset, let me just quote the waffle stomper here who says, there's so much music I love now that I didn't when I was younger. For me, this brings up Bob Marley for me. I remember being in high school running around with one of my ex homies, and he was playing the Bob Marley anthology. And some of this Bob Marley anthology begins with the early stuff with the Wailers. And if you go back and listen to some of that stuff, keeping up with the Wailers, the quality and the sound is really low. And it almost seems like it was recorded from an amateur position. And as a young man listening to this, as a 16-year-old kid, I couldn't process through that. I couldn't get through the cricks and the crackles and the pops and the hisses to hear the genuine soul underneath all of that. And it wasn't until 2017 that I realized, wow, this is so good. And what makes this so special is how raw it is, how quote unquote incorrect it is in terms of quality and what I'm so used to now. You think that everything has to have this pristine filter. You think everything has to have this beautiful finish on top of it, but in reality, no. The music I love the most has error. The music I love the most has flaws. The music I love the most was recorded in an avant-garde way that might not necessarily be considered state of the art. Therefore, it doesn't have this premium quality to it. But there's something within all of that. There's something within that imperfection that I grew to love. And now I'd much rather hear some jazz, some hard bop, some Sonny Rollins, some Thelonious Monk, some Coltrane or Miles from the 50s or the 60s. I would rather hear that than a brand new jazz record and some guys trying to reinterpolate what the bebop movement was doing, because it's not going to have that washiness, airiness to it. And when you take away from all of that, you're taking away from the authentic flavor, which is what makes it so special. So I definitely agree with you there, Waffle Stomper. And then Tony says sometimes your palate just needs to adjust and really grasp whatever it is you're trying to taste from various angles. Well said, Tony. I do agree with that as well. You know, sometimes you bite into that salt and vinegar chip and you don't like it because you don't understand it because it's brand new to you and you didn't know what it was. But keep biting it, Jacob, and you grow to love it. Very much indeed. Jacob, how is your current mental health?
It's honestly growing is the word I'll use. Very much growing, and um it's getting there. It's really getting there. And I feel like every day I'm becoming more and more, I hate saying like a man because I hate the term of everything around that stigma, like talk like masculinity. I hate that, but I feel more and more like a human being, well rounded every single day. Besides this fact, because this is finals week for me, I have a ton of schoolwork, which is kind of stressful. It is what it is. Trying to manage my time, trying to get it all done, and I know I'm gonna do it, but it's stressful right now. But in a week, it's smooth sailing. I'll be done with school until January, and then I get to focus on myself and the ones around me, people I love, friends and family, enjoy my time with them. I'm really starting to realize that those are kind of the most important things in life. And I'm glad I'm realizing that at the age of 20 and not at the age of like 60, like some people I know have. And just trying my best, man. I'm just trying my best. How's your mental health?
Oh, is that you talking about me when you said 60-year old that you know?
Oh yeah, I was adding you. Yeah. Fat at Damian L. Hudson.
Pretty old, guys. I must admit. Before we get into my mental health, of course, I couldn't just unveil my brain to you. I want to tap a bit more into what you were saying here. Now, you say you're growing in a positive way. Can you go more into that?
Yeah, because like the last 2 months, 3 months of my life have been kind of shitty. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like I had corona, I got strep, and I got sick again, and I had some things happen in my life while I'm trying out in school, and I just moved, and I'm getting adjusted, and I'm trying to figure out a balance. And um looking back on that, like it was shitty that that had happened, but I'm happy it happened because it's giving me character. It's giving me tools in the future that I can use if the lessons ever pop up again, or those same situations ever pop up again. I can use it as a lesson. And I know in those moments, it's like for me, it's hard to see the light, but it's moments like this where I'm not like completely out of it by any means, but I can understand why it's happened and how to use it to my advantage rather than sitting all day every day and dwelling on it. And it's like I'm saying it's not completely fine. Like I'm not 100% over everything and like, oh, I'm a changed person. No, but every day is a new day, and you take a step brick by brick, like Will Smith would say, and you do your best every single day to realize and recognize what life has handed you. And also, I see Tony commenting that he said it's not toxic masculinity. um I know what the man reference is, but I also just don't like using that term because for me, what I've been around my whole life and what I've seen, it is masculinity to me. Like people just really abuse that term. So I don't really like using it that much. Although I do see what you're saying. I just don't like using it that much. It's a preference. It's really just a preference. I just like to say human being because I believe that's what we all are, and we can all become human beings.
Okay, there's 2 points I want to hit on that. First being, what's the biggest lesson you learned from 2020? Second being, what is so negative about masculinity?
First one I'd say is really just being strong in yourself. I said I wouldn't release music because I don't have my feet from under me yet in that sense of like that. But I would also say that that term that I just used, having my feet underneath me, would also be a lesson that I've learned beyond like music, like literally just with anything. When I walk into a room and I don't know people, I've never been like this, but it made me realize that I've never been like this. Like if I walk into a room full of people I've never met, I'm not any type of way to try to impress anybody. I'm literally just myself unapologetically. Like I'm just myself. And if you don't like me, you don't like me. If you like me, you like me. But same thing, like if I'm going through something mentally, then I need to believe in myself that I can get myself out of it, because I know it helps to reach out to people and that is a huge help. But it's like that therapist thing I always talk about. Like therapists say, like how many therapists does it change? How many therapists does it take to change a light bulb? And the answer is none. They can only tell you like what to do. And that's how I feel with my mental health. Is it helps. I have gone to therapy. It helps. I've talked to people around me about some stuff, and I'm very grateful for that. But you really can't do anything unless you want to help yourself. And so I figured out I need to believe in myself in that sense, because if I'm not believing in myself and I'm not making the effort every day to get up and keep pushing, then I'm just going to stay stuck. Time doesn't wait for you. Time moves on. Time marches on. And if you don't march on with it, you're kind of fucked.
Well said, my brother. Well said. Believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, what's the point in getting up every day? If you don't believe in yourself, what are you doing with your life? If you don't believe in yourself and you believe in all of your haters and you believe in all of your doubters, it's almost like you might as well just give up. But never give up on that belief within what you want to accomplish. Never give up within that belief of what your dreams are. Never give up within that belief of your hopes and wishes. There's a Tupac quote which I saw recently. It said, never let someone tell you that you can't dream. I'm paraphrasing, but never let someone take your dreams away from you. And that's so true. That's so real, because the only one that really has the power to stop you is you. And it works the opposite way as well. The only one that can really encourage you to access your greatness is you. You can have a coach pushing you a million miles a minute, but if you don't get up and do the work, you're not going to go anywhere. Morpheus said, I can only show you the door, Neo. You must walk through it. That is truth. For any champion, for any legend, it wasn't the coach, it wasn't the dad, it wasn't the mom, it wasn't the brother, it was the legend within themselves. It was the fighter within themselves that grew up, blew up, glowed out, no doubt, took over their ambition, took over their mentality, and took no no's as an option. There was no plan B. Access that greatness, access that mentality of being unstoppable by being your biggest fan, by being your biggest coach. You have to be your own coach. You have to be your own fan. You have to be your own motivation. You have to be your own fire fueling that energy. So kudos to you, my brother. Well said.
Thank you.
I applaud you for that. It's a great lesson
Thank
to
you.
learn. It's a lesson that we all can work on. Everyone can work on that lesson because we all go through self doubt. What goes up must come down, and what is down can go up. You just have to visualize where you want to be. You have to strive for where you want to be, and you have to work at it. It's really hard work to get what you want out of this world, especially in 2020 when you have all these other obstacles to overcome. So,
Yeah.
moving
And I
on.
want to hit I
Go
want
ahead.
to hit on the second part still
Yeah,
because
I was just about to.
yeah, I want to hit on that second part still. So I mean, obviously, I'm not saying
And this is masculinity, right?
yeah, I'm not saying it in terms.
My
I'm
southern
not
came through here.
yeah,
I don't know how that
I'm
happened.
not saying it in terms of like gender or anything like that. I'm just saying as like a human being because that's what I believe. I feel like if we just I just hate using terms to identify like so many people like we're all just human beings. So if I could say that I could grow as a human being rather than grow as a man, then I'd rather say I'm growing as a human being because if I have a wife in the future and she's doing the same things as me and we're growing, we're both growing as human beings. Like that's just what I believe. So at the end of the day, no matter what sex we are, no matter what we look like, no matter how many legs we have, how many feet we have, how many fingers, like it doesn't matter. We're all human beings. So that's why I use the term like I'm growing as a human being rather than I'm growing as a man. And also, I just don't believe in like stigma around it. It's obviously going away now, but people are like, oh, like I'm a man, like I'm a man because I work out. I'm a man because I shoot guns. I'm a man because blah 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 blah. It's like, dude, that doesn't make you like a quote unquote man. Like, how are you with your family? How are you with your friends? Do you check in on your friends? Do you talk shit behind their back when they're not listening? Like, what makes you like? It's just such a stupid misconception of a term to use. Just like that's why I just believe in just like, are you a human being? Are you a human being? Are you just a good person? Do you treat people like how are you?
Okay, I see what you're saying here, but let me draw a line down the middle here. And let me say this for you, in my humble opinion, for us
Okay. Okay.
as human beings and as for young men. Of course, me, I'm
Mm-hmm.
49. We won't go there. But as a young man, I do believe that there is a time to be a man. I do believe that there is a time to be masculine. I do believe that in this world, if we all got rid of that idea of masculinity and the time to be a man, I think the world would suffer as a whole. Whereas on the other side of the line here, I hear exactly what you're saying. Do you need to be masculine in order to stick up for your homie? You need to be masculine in order to defend someone talking shit about your homie behind your back? Do you need to be masculine in order to stand up for what's right? Maybe not. Maybe not at all. Maybe you just need to be a good person. Maybe you just need to be a good human being. Maybe you just need to want the best out of the world. And it doesn't matter if you're a boy, girl, man, or woman in that regard. If you want the best out of the world, if you want the best for someone, and you want the best for society, then you're just a good person. There are selfish people that only look out for themselves. Gender doesn't matter. That's not a question of gender. So let's rewind a bit here. For me, let me ask you, do you think there's ever an appropriate time to be masculine, Jacob?
I mean, that's how it's just like it's a weird term. Like if so, okay, like if someone's breaking in trying to hurt my family, then like masculinity, I guess, would kick in. But still, I only see it as being a human being. Like I don't. I just any term I can think of like being masculine is just like underneath like we're all just the function of our brain. Like I'm just my brain right now and I'm living inside this. Like there's no such thing as being like a man to me. If someone breaks in my house and something happens, it's not because I was more of a man than the other person. It's just because of the way that we as human beings interacted and our brains played out the situation. I don't really believe in the term masculinity. I believe like if I were to get in a fight with someone, like if I had experience of like Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu and I trained all that for years, well, when you go there and you train, they aren't telling you to kick people's ass because it's like a martial art, like it's a sport. Like you have to respect it. You have to sit there and like actually realize like this isn't something that you just like go around in the street and pick fights with people for. Like it's humbleness. Like you're really being humbled. And people fail to realize that when I think when they think of terms like that if someone did break in my house and Lord knows what happens, you have to do something. Like I just don't think like that's a situation where you'd have to be masculine, but I still think you're a human being at the end of the day, no matter what happens.
Okay. So what you're saying is if there's ever a time to defend yourself or defend your family or defend your community, at that point, masculinity is initiated,
Yeah, I
but
mean hypothetically, yeah.
not necessarily the only option, right? There could be a strong feminist who could do some dope ass Sonya Cage round kicks off the side of your face, roundhouse, uppercut, side kick, down, bam, bam, bam. But she's a feminist, right? That kind of goes with your statement there, right?
Yeah, but I mean I'd still just say like she's a human being and you got your ass kicked by another human being.
Saying
Like
is let's get rid of masculinity and femininity. Is that what you're saying?
sure, I mean like I haven't thought of it that way, but literally I'm just saying I just don't use those terms when I describe people or describe myself, and I don't think of people and like look at them and think like, oh, they're hella masculine or like, ooh, they're hella feminine. Like I'm just like, okay, that's just them. Like that's just who you are. Like how's your day? Like I don't really look at it like that.
That's funny, man. Yeah, I just imagine some dude walking down the beach like, damn, he's mad masculine. It's kind of a funny image and a funny conversation. Okay. So let's
But you hold on, tell me that you don't see people that carry themselves like that. That dude walks up to you at the beach, right? Some dude walks up to me at the beach. I don't have that much muscle on me. I'm pretty skinny, right? He walks up to me and I can already tell. And I'm not saying this because I'm insecure with my body. I'm honestly not. I've had this happen. People walk up and they're like hella yacked and they think they are like better than you because of their masculinity. And you can see it. That's why I just believe like it's just so stupid. Like it's just so dumb. Like it's just such a stupid concept that just divides people. I hate it, man. I hate it.
see. I see what you're saying, but I'm just lost on the outcome here. In a perfect world, how do we get through this scenario, this dilemma? Talk to us, Jacob.
Like give me a scenario.
I don't know. We're going in a bit of circles here. I'm I'm just trying to understand the dangers of masculinity in terms of the world's mental health, because a part of me believes at the end of the day there needs to be, let's go to caveman world, right? Caveman
Okay.
world. There
Okay.
needs to be someone to go out to do the hunting, to skin the deer, throw
Hmm.
the deer on the horse, bring it back, and provide for the community, for the village.
Hmm.
That's
Okay.
masculinity at its finest there.
You wouldn't say
Of
that's just
course,
humanity. I would say that's just humanity, though.
but I was going to say, of course, that caveman could have taken his cave daughter with him and trained her to use the bow, and she could have shot the deer also.
Hmm.
And, maybe he just skinned the deer, but maybe he didn't shoot it. And now, in a way, she has provided food and nourishment for her community, which could be a masculine thing.
Can
But
I can I can I go on a little rant? That's kind of funny with that.
go for it.
So growing up, like I was like, I mean, I'm just gonna be like very open and honest. I didn't hit puberty till I was like 15, almost 16. I was a super late bloomer. I was the smallest kid at my school, skinniest kid at my school, and people used to like basically tell me like I'm not like I've had people tell me that like, oh, you're not a man, like you're still just a little kid, and simply because of my height or my weight. But me being that height and weight, I used to go on hunting trips all the time and literally shoot deer, skin deer. And my uncle, who had stage 4 cancer, he had all these problems with him, couldn't move. I would feed him with the deer that I shot, the birds that I would hunt. I'd go up there twice a month and I would get him food. And then me and my father would do that, right? So we're providing food to him on that scale, which is like almost like masculinity. But then I'd come back and people would tell me like I'm not shit and I can't do anything simply because of my height and weight. And that's when I first started realizing like this is just such a stupid ass scale to judge people on. And I'm not saying like what you were just saying. It just reminded me of that because I just remember like being 15 years old and literally having that happen to me. And I was just thinking like, this is just a weird scale, man. Like we're just human beings. And now that I have grown and I'm like tall and everything, I'm like feeling out and still the same way. I'm like, I'm not better than nobody else. And nobody else is really better than me. We're just people under a layer of skin.
For the record, I hear exactly what you're saying. And for the record, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I
Yeah, I know.
want to tap into your brain a bit more here. And I'm just trying to discover the meaning behind all of this. And Janice said something very nice in the chat. Well, maybe not nice, but current. Toxic masculinity is not the same as masculinity. What do you think about that, Jacob?
Really good point. I'd say that's a really good point.
Right? And I think perhaps that's what you were talking about here. You're talking about a masculinity. That's such a funny. You're talking about masculinity coming at you down the beach, chest high. What up, bro? Yo, you in my way, man. Yo, you looking at my girl? Oh no, see what we got problems. Like, of course.
Yes.
That's a toxic masculinity. That is a person who has problems
Mm-hmm.
within themselves. And perhaps those people that were picking on you, pointing you out, pushing you around, oh, you're too small to make anything happen. Get out of the way. Give me the ball. I'm the real star here. Everybody look at me because I'm taller, bigger, and faster. I'm more masculine, right? There's a danger in that. And perhaps that danger is human mental behaviors. This has been going on for the longest time. Someone who is bigger and stronger thinks that they're better. And me, I was also a very small person coming up. When I was the Bartow County champion of the year in my weight division, I was 75 pounds. I was competing with the 75-pound weight class. And everyone in that weight class, of course, were at the bottom of the food chain in terms of popularity, in terms of uh, speed and agility and strength. That's just how it was. And I think that is more on that human nature side of things. I don't know if we'll ever be able to escape that sense of immaturity and adolescence growing up. The bigger guy on the playground is always going to be the DICK. Well, maybe not always. Maybe there's a gentle giant out there, but 9 times out of 10, the guy who's an asshole in elementary school is the biggest. Not the biggest asshole, but the biggest guy. You know what I'm saying? There's just a whole bully mentality that comes with toxic masculinity. And perhaps that's something that was pushed on to them. Perhaps this guy walking down the beach with his chest out had to deal with his dad walking in the living room with his chest out. And when his dad walked into the living room with his chest out, he was that small 75-pound weight class division. And the second his dad goes to work, he takes a bit of that energy and that mentality with him when he goes down to the beach in San Diego and he sees you. And now he's Billy Badass, ready to knock you out for getting in his way. That toxic masculinity has a reason for being present in those who are abusing their masculinity. But doesn't that work the same way for feminists as well? Can't you be a bit too far off on this side of the line? Do you think there's a danger in toxic femininity? Is that the word? Femininity?
Yeah, feminism, maybe.
Maybe I think you're right. I think feminism, but feminism is different than being feminine. Those are two different things.
Well, yeah, because feminism is more of like the term of. Are we thinking movement with feminism?
Janice says femininity. I was right
Okay.
because
All right.
a
Yeah.
feminist.
Femininity. That's a tongue twister.
It is, isn't it? Because it's not like you have femininity and you have feminists. You have masculinity, but you don't have masculineness. Imagine someone walking around the world who's like, no, men, 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 men. Men are the best and men are the greatest. Men in the world. There's actually people out there that do walk out there around the world like that, but there's another word for it. I think it's like white supremacy. You know, it's not it's not a masculinist, a masonist, a menacist. Yeah, crazy. It's funny. Isn't that interesting? They don't have a word for that. Yeah. Isn't it interesting how there's so many words, same topic. There's so many words to knock down feminine energy. You know, the second somebody is scared of doing something, he's a pussy. The second somebody doesn't want to go somewhere, oh, he's a bitch. But what's the word when the dude is too Randy Savage? What's the word when the dude is too Donald Trump? What's the word when the dude is too much of an asshole to see that his gender, his sex is getting in the way of everything else? Isn't that interesting?
The only term I can think of is like someone being like, "Oh, you're a dickhead," but that's literally it. Like someone calling someone like, that's literally it. But it's funny we only use those terms when someone is doing something toward that. Like if you're bullying someone, they're considered a dickhead. But if you're doing something and don't want to go out, then you're a pussy. And then it's like the two spectrums that society has created, and it's it's just like, why?
Yeah. Interesting though. Isn't that interesting? Dickhead. I feel like the only people I've ever called the dickhead are people that actually look like the dick is on their head. that's like a word like I never really use. Oh, you dickhead. I'll never say
I've
that.
heard it. I've heard it quite a bit.
But I'll say it when homie like literally looks like, yo, like your head is kind of like, this dude looks, you know.
It kind of looks a little, yeah.
That's what I'll say. But it's interesting though. I mean, that's really interesting. Masculinity.
I will say though, now thinking about it, there is a fine line between toxic masculinity and masculinity. But how can someone project their masculinity onto somebody without making it in a toxic way? Is that possible?
How can someone project their masculinity on someone without making it toxic?
Mm-hmm.
I think the only occasion where that could happen is a father-son relationship or a role model environment, whereas they're teaching someone something. And that's the situation where I feel like masculinity is very important. We need the dads of this world to teach the sons of this world to be men. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything toxic about that. There's nothing toxic or wrong with being a man. There's nothing toxic or wrong with having masculine traits or qualities. I think it's go ahead.
Give me an example of some masculine traits and qualities that you were talking about that comes to mind.
You want an example of masculine trait?
Like traits, like something a man should teach his son.
A man should teach his son, his stun. His stun. A man should teach his son. Wow. A man should teach his son how to be strong. A man should teach his son how to defend himself, how to protect his family.
Mm-hmm.
A man should teach his son how to take care of his family, how to take care of his community. A man should teach his son how to take care of himself, how to defend himself. A man should teach his son how to be an athlete, perhaps, but this doesn't defeat a man teaching his daughter these same things, because a man should also teach his daughter how to defend herself in case some fool tries to grab her when she's out on the streets. A man should also teach his daughter how to provide for her family, how to take care of her elders. And I think that goes on to lead this conversation into knowing we all have a bit of masculine qualities within us, and we all have a bit of feminine qualities within us. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some super hyper masculine men do some really feminine things. Think about like the bodybuilders of the world who are like Jock Diesel, and these guys are shaving their legs and shaving their arms and shaving their chest. There's nothing more feminine that a masculine man could do than shave his chest. I've been with women before, like, oh no, don't shave your chest. There's some hair on that chest. There's something so masculine about hair on somebody's chest. I don't know why, but it is. And all I'm saying in this point is anyone could be masculine or feminine. And I think we all are a bit of each. What's something feminine that I do? But this is such a good conversation because it's so deep.
Because at the end of the day, but at the end of the day, like when you explain these points, like they're just, I feel like, to me, which is why I don't use these terms, I just feel like they're natural human lessons. Like we as human beings, like that's why I just stay away from the topics of like just saying that. Like you can teach your family how to do all that, like defend and stick up for yourself, but like that should just be a basic trait as a human being. Like I don't know. That's why I'm not saying you're wrong by any means. I'm just saying that's why I stay away from it, is because I just don't believe in it. Like
I hear what you're
it's
saying.
just, yeah, like we
Exactly.
should just do it
But I
as a
think,
human.
and I think when the man teaches his offspring these things, he's not going to say, "Oh, this is how what a masculine person does," or he's not going to say to his daughter, "Oh, this is how a man defends himself, daughter. This is what you need to do. You need to be like a man to defend yourself." I don't think that those words or descriptive gender-based adjectives ever need to be included within the lesson. I do agree with you 100%. You should just teach your kids how to stick up for themselves. You should just teach your kids how to provide for their family. You should just teach their kids how to be good people. And this is such a deep conversation, has so many layers to it. I feel like we could just run in circles forever. But the last thing I'll say is I think masculinity is just as important as femininity. Such a funny word. I don't even know if I'm saying it right or not. But I think they're just important. They're just as important to each other because it represents the world. It represents the yin and the yang. It represents the night and the day. There are two sides to that sun. There are two sides to that earth. There are two sides to that coin. And it's important to have both mentalities represented when traveling through time and history. We need to have some feminine mindsets in order to create world peace, and we need to have some masculine mindsets in order to enforce it. Nevertheless, I think there is a bit more masculinity out there in the world as a whole, which is causing the world to suffer more. Think about if you took away all the masculinity of the world, would there even be wars anymore? Would there even be fighting? Would there even be disputes? Because I think there would, though. Even look at a room full of girls. Eventually, it's going to get kind of catty in there, and somebody's going to be fighting over something. Does that make this group of girls or the girl within that room masculine because she can't stand what Betty Smith said about her homegirl, Sharonica? I don't even know where these names are coming from, but I'm just trying to make a point here. What do you think, Jacob? I think I've said everything that I could say on that note. I will leave you with the final word.
I think it's a spectrum that is all opinionated. I don't think there's a correct right or wrong, because the more I think of it, I'm like, okay, I do like I have toxic, not toxic. I have masculine traits. Like I do masculine actions, and I think like, damn, I do feminine actions too. But it just really comes down to like your own opinion, like your own. There's no right or wrong. There's really no right or wrong because it's a spectrum, it's a scale, and it is what you choose to believe and make of it, honestly. And I think that's the most that I could say about that. But on that note, I will ask for something that is also on the spectrum. How is your mental health?
My mental health is okay. My mental health lately has been reaching a state of contempt. I am beginning to allow myself to be content with how the day is turning, how the future is looking, how my situation is. I think months ago, I was upset about my situation because I couldn't alter things and twist things and bend things into the way I wanted them to fit into my occasions. And that's taxing on the mind. And somewhere within the last couple weeks here, I've just been okay. I've just been all right. I've just been able to just take a deep breath and just enjoy the day as slow as it is. Enjoy the routine as routine and repetitive as it is. I've been in quarantine for some time now, and these walls, in a way, are all I have. I have a street to walk up and down, I have an alley to get lost in. But at the end of my daily journey and my daily walk, I do return to my spaceship, these white walls that surround me. And initially, it felt like the walls were closing in and I wasn't moving anywhere. I wasn't getting anywhere. But I think me challenging myself to be more creative has allowed me to just be okay with this routine. I think when we don't have anything on the schedule or we don't have anything on the agenda, and presently speaking, agenda that we can focus on right now, our mind gets lost in the future or the past. And it's easy to lay in bed and get lost in that alternative reality, which is the future because it hasn't even happened yet. It's a make believe reality, or that reality from the past, which can no longer be adjusted because it's behind us. There's a lot of times recently where I've been thinking, like, damn, I wonder if I would have said this, if I would have did this song, or if I would have gave this lyric, or I wonder where I would be right now. I think about that too much. And it doesn't matter where you would be if you would have done this or that, or if you would have. It just doesn't matter. Whatever you do, whatever you did, it doesn't matter, man. You just have to keep on going and you have to stay focused on what you want, and you got to do it one day at a time. So, my mental health lately has been somewhat exhausted, somewhat really just spent creatively and physically. I'm tired. And I think that's because I'm pushing myself to be more creative. But me pushing myself to be more creative and me challenging myself is also let go of some anxiety, which was greatly attached to the future or the past. And just to tap in with my brother Tony here, slightly on the last train, but Tony said, my mother taught me all the things a man should know how to do. Never had a father around. And I believe Tony was commenting on his masculinity. And kudos to you and your mother, Tony. Shout outs to you. And shout outs to everybody hanging out with us in the chat today. Janice, Tony, Savvy Almighty, Caden, Waffle Stomper, Ben, everybody here. How is your mental health? How are you all doing out there in the world as you are listening right now, as you are watching right now in this moment? Ask yourself, how is my mental health? How am I doing? How do I feel? I'm asking you to share it with us. Let us know in the comment sections. Let us know via the tweets. Let us know on the gram or YouTube or even right here on Twitch right now. How do you feel, ladies and gentlemen? It's a very important question. It's a very important thing to acknowledge. For hundreds of years, no one really cared about mental health. For hundreds of years, mental health didn't exist. For hundreds of years, when someone said health, it was merely a physical attribute which relates to how they are currently speaking. But when we say, how is your mental health? It's not as simple as, oh, I'm happy, I'm sad, or I don't feel good. It's there's layers and layers and layers to it. And it's important for us all to have these conversations with each other, with our peers, with our brothers, our sisters, our family, our uncles, our aunts, our mothers, our fathers. Check in with each other. How do you feel? How are you right now? Ask someone, how are you today? How do you feel? Are you okay? You can go many miles with someone by just asking them, how are you? Are you okay? A lot of times people won't reveal how they are because they feel like no one cares. And the second you ask them, how are you? Are you okay? Weight is lifted off of their shoulders and they are able to express themselves. That is not a coincidence, ladies and gentlemen. It is important to express yourself. That's why therapists are so important, because there's someone out there that can just listen and you don't have to feel judged or ridiculed by whatever comes out of your mouth. Someone has recently suggested to me that I need therapy. You need to go see a therapist. I've never seen a therapist. I don't think I need therapy, but they suggested it. If I sat down with a therapist, what would I share? Probably my darkest secrets, probably my deepest moments. But a part of me right now feels like I don't need to share my dark secrets, or I don't need to share my heavy moments that have impacted my life because I'm okay with them. I'm content with them. Earlier, I said contempt. I just realized that. And the word I was trying to say is content. It's very strange. I don't know why. That was a huge brain fart.
It looks like we're having some issues on the Twitch stream. It's buffering a little bit.
Uh huh.
Don't know why. Like pretty bad.
Well, that's
Um,
okay because the Zoom recording is still going.
I know. I'm just saying for chat, if they can even still hear us, we're having a little bit of issues.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you for noting that. And speaking of the chat here, it looks like Tony says, I've been feeling much like yourself, Dame. Ian. It's tough to be in a good spirits with the unknown in front of us. Waffle says, excited to be done with finals. Tony says, but you must travel with diligence and positivity in everything that you do with a good heart. Indeed. Indeed. Jacob, why don't you take us away and we can wrap this up?
Just want to say, I feel that with finals. Finals is a weird time. Twice a year, and it only comes twice a year, and I'd say it's probably the most stressful time of the year, undoubtedly. And just do your best, man. That's my biggest thing. As long as you know you put 110% into your finals and your schoolwork, and I guess this just isn't even with school, but as long as you know you put 110% into it, no matter what it is, no matter what it may be, that's all that matters. It doesn't really matter. I mean, if I fail something, but I know I did 110% and gave it my absolute all, then there's nothing I can do. So, um, most of the time, though, if you do put 110% into it, you're not going to fail. I believe in you. I know you're going to get through your finals. I know I am too. And anyone else who's watching this that has finals, I know you guys are going to get through it. So keep your head up, keep pushing, and it'll all be over soon. Dan, you got anything to say?
even those who aren't currently within the educational system, I think we're all going through our own finals in December 2020. Even if we're not in college or high school, we have our own final, our own exam. In this exam, this final is called life. This final life, this only life that we get. One life you get. One life, one opportunity you get to accomplish what you want. Just like Jacob said, you put 150% into what you want to accomplish. Great. If you don't get it, that's okay. It wasn't meant to be because you put everything into it. But if by chance there's a piece of your heart that still wants it and that still wants to accomplish something, I want you to know you can do it. I believe in you. You can accomplish anything that you want to accomplish. You can achieve anything that you want to achieve. You can get through any storm that is weathering you down. Whether you believe it or not, I believe in you and I believe you are special and you have an enhanced ability to rule your world, your domain, whatever it is you want. Just get to it, ladies and gentlemen. Get to it, people. Get to it like it's January 1st, 2021. And you're saying to yourself, oh, this year I'm going to do this, and this. Don't wait till January 2021. Do it right now. Never do tomorrow what you can do today. I think I butchered that quote too, but it's a good one. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for all of your support. Really, really, really appreciate you all. Thank you so much for all of your support. Thank you for being here on Twitch. And thank you for watching us on YouTube. Thank you for listening to us on Spotify. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much. Music and Mental Health, episode 22. Chop, chop.